Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I thought I would stick my tongue in my cheek and do some of these Joe Stunner Boxing awards for 2023. Best fight, best fighter, you know the drill. And like I say, this is really just my opinion. We could give you a chance to leave your comments in the comments section. You can pick your fighter of the year and so on. But I'm going to go through a few because inevitably there are going to be some I'll miss out. After I've done this video, I'll probably think, oh, I should have mentioned him or I should have mentioned that fight. But anyway, let's start with male fighter of the year, who for me is Naoya Inoue of Japan. Recently, only a few days ago, knocked out Marlon Tapales in 10 rounds to become the undisputed super bantamweight champion. And this comes a year and 10 days roughly, after he knocked out Paul Butler to become undisputed bantamweight champ. So to do that within just over a year, to actually unify two divisions is extraordinary. I think if he retired tomorrow, he'd be classed as Japan's best ever fighter. And they've had some great fighters over the years. Actually, most of them underappreciated. But Inoue is a very special fighter, certainly my favourite fighter in the modern game right now. Naoya Inoue is fighter of the year for me. A lot of people are saying what Crawford did to Spence warrants that particular crown. I don't know. I mean, it was one of the great performances of my lifetime. And I'm not exaggerating. I thought Crawford was absolutely sublime against Errol Spence. But he only fought once this year. And I think with victories over Tapales and previously the American, whose name escapes me, who was actually fancied to give Inoue a tough fight, I think Inoue has earned this particular, if you want to call it an accolade, I wouldn't really go that far, but I just think he's the best. I think he's the best fighter in the world at any weight. Naoya Inoue, fighter of the year, male fighter of the year for me. Female fighter of the year, I'm going to go with Katie Taylor. I expected Chantel Cameron to win the rematch. She didn't. Katie, out of a weight division against a younger woman with less miles on the clock, was inspired and deserved the win over Chantel Cameron. I don't need to say much more about Katie Taylor. We know how great she is and what she's done for women's boxing. But yeah, definitely Katie Taylor for me, female fighter of the year. Fight of the year. Now, first of all, the female fight of the year for me was Taylor versus Cameron too, and I think it was a good, entertaining fight, as well as having a shocking outcome. Well, it shocked me anyway because I really thought Cameron was going to win. But as the fight unravelled, Katie's sort of revelatory performance, I think, was absolutely absorbing. I think the female fight of the year is Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron too. The male fight of the year, to me, it was a toss-up. It was a toss-up between Rafael Espinoza, who beat Robeisy Ramirez, flooring him in the final round. I thought it was a really dramatic fight. He took the fight at very short notice, Ramirez. Espinoza. And Ramirez was expected to deal with him pretty much with aplomb. But Espinoza had other ideas, a sort of rakishly tall, thin fighter. And he got floored heavily, very heavily, even though he was, for periods of the previous rounds, he was floored heavily, got up, regrouped, and eventually came on strong and floored Ramirez in the final round and got the decision. Incredible sort of Cinderella story. But yeah, I would say that was definitely a contender for fight of the year for me. But the one I'm going to go with is for fight of the year for me personally was O'Shaquie Foster against Eduardo Hernandez. Now this was an incredible battle. O'Shaquie Foster looking like he was going to lose his title against a rampaging Hernandez, who really was like a man possessed. Hernandez hadn't gone the rounds previously, and it was a case of, as he got the engine to do 12, incredible action, especially in the 11th round, which I'll come to in a moment. But in the final round, leading on the cards, Eduardo Hernandez got floored a couple of times and was eventually stopped. And O'Shaquie Foster got out of jail with a last gasp stoppage. Brilliant fight. So that's going to be my fight of the year. O'Shaquie Foster against Eduardo Hernandez. And that particular fight, for me personally, also provided the round of the year, which was the 11th round, the round just before Hernandez got stopped. I mean, Hernandez had this rampaging, kill or be killed reputation. He stopped a lot of people. He had been stopped in the first round in his previous defeat. But for him to last the distance and to give someone like O'Shaquie Foster, who's a very slick boxer, or can be a very slick boxer, very tall and rangy, for him to give him hell right up to the 11th. And in the 11th round, I mean, they were exchanging punches like they were going out of fashion. It was an amazing, amazing round. Both fighters looking like they were on the verge of being stopped. Go and have a look at it. Go and have a look at the fight because it's brilliant. But that is my round of the year, the 11th round of O'Shaquie Foster versus Eduardo Hernandez. KO of the year. Now, for me, it happened quite recently. It was an out of the blue. Well, actually, I say let's deal with another. Let me mention another fight, which I think could have been KO of the year, and that was Adrian Curiel knocking out Sivanithi Nochinga in the second round, and that really did come out of the blue. I mean, Nochinga was expected to wipe the floor with Curiel. He was being hailed as Kenshiro Taraji's main threat in the light flyweight division, and Curiel just splattered him in 2 rounds. It was sort of, and by the way, Curiel came in, I think, with like 23 wins and 4 KOs. A light puncher supposedly. He also had 4 defeats, all on points and a draw. So no one expected him to have enough pop to deal with Nochinga, but he did. My God, he did. So I think that's up there as the KO of the year. But the one that I would really go with is Junto Nakatani knocking out Andrew Maloney in the 12th and final round. This was back in May. And Nakatani had his way with Maloney for most of the fight. But Maloney was always in there. He was showing that, Aussie toughness, making Nakatani work for the rounds, work for the win. He'd been floored a couple of times, I want to say in the 11th, if memory serves. I'm doing this off memory, but it was one of those fights where one guy was clearly winning, but you thought, this is a great fight to watch. This is kind of an absorbing fight because the other guy was always hanging on. He was always in it. And you were wondering if he could get his second win and maybe Nakatani would tire, but no, it didn't happen. And in the final round, the knockdown that flattened, I think it was I want to say a right hook, maybe. Was it a right cross? I think it was the right hand anyway. Anyway, whatever it was, Nakatani, he landed this laser-like punch on Andrew Maloney and knocked him flat out. The guy was out before he hit the floor and his head ricocheted off the canvas. Thankfully, he was okay. But I would give that as the knockout of the year. Definitely the knockout of the year. Getting back to Nochinga and Curiel, I would say that was probably the shock of the year, probably the upset of the year. I'm jumping from fight to fight here, but that second round KO I would give as the upset of the year. Adrian Curiel knocking out Sivanathi Nochinga in only 2 rounds and becoming IBF light flyweight champ, I think it is. So that was a great upset, terrific upset. There have been others. I mean, a lot of people are saying Joseph Parker beating Deontay Wilder was an upset. I don't think it was that big. Not really. A lot of people were picking Parker, saying they were calling the upset. To me, an upset, a big upset, is where you just don't expect it. It's kind of like out of the blue. Like, Curiel knocking out Nochinga. I mean, it was just, no one expected it. I didn't expect it. Everyone was, like I say, was thinking that Nochinga was going to eventually match up with Taraji. They've actually got a rematch now, Curiel and Nochinga, next year. So they're hoping that normal service will be resumed. But I mean, Nonshinga was unbeaten in 12 and was really being hailed as a potential superstar. But anyway, let's move on to prospect of the year. Now, for me, I'm talking about the world prospect of the year. To me, there's only one man that springs out, and that is Andy Cruz. And I think he had his second fight a month ago. So, the guy looks like he's been boxing professionally for years. You know, you would never believe it was his second fight. He's so beautifully poised, relaxed. His punches are hurtful. If they flow, you never know when the next, not the next single punch, you never know where the next combination is coming from. Just such a marvellous, I mean, obviously a very, very decorated amateur, but a marvellous professional poise about the guy. Just a terrific, terrific fighter. Andy Cruz, I mean, pretty much a shoo-in to be possibly a unified champion, or certainly someone who can go through the divisions and win belts at different weights. But what a marvellous fighter, lightweight fighter. He's fantastic, he really is. So prospect of the year, yeah, Andy Cruz definitely. Trainer of the year, I would go with Brian McIntyre, Bomac. I think he has to have a lot of credit for what Crawford did against Spence. As I say, the Crawford's defeat of Spence, it was one of the best performances I've ever seen from a fighter against another elite fighter. And you can talk about Spence having, being damaged goods or whatever, or going, getting old overnight, or you can go on and on about his condition and his neurology and so on. But no one was talking about that when they came into the fight. A lot of people were picking Spence to win. I picked Crawford to win on points. But the way he dominated Errol and just beat him up and floored him a couple of times and stopped him was an astonishing display of what boxing should be. A perfect blend of offense and defense. Because whenever Crawford wasn't throwing punches, his defense was impeccable, his balance, the control of the range, everything was just beautiful about it. So yeah, Brian McIntyre for the win as far as trainer goes. Have I missed anything out? I don't even know. I don't think I have really. They're probably the main ones, aren't they? But have a think. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your choices would be. I will of course read it all and comment whenever I can. Thank you for your time as always. Much appreciated. It's been a fantastic year for this channel. It really has. We've got like 2,800 and something subscribers now. It's unbelievable to me. Absolutely unbelievable. Channel's been going for, what is it now? 2 years and 2 months. And we got, 2,800 subscribers. Thank you all. I make these videos because I love making them. But if no one's listening, then it's just an echo chamber, isn't it? I really appreciate it when you leave your comments. So thank you very much from the heart of my bottom to yourselves for all your support for this fantastic channel. And why is it fantastic? Because you guys make it fantastic. And yeah, hopefully we'll get more subscribers, get the views up. But yeah, leave your comments below about this subject. Who do you think's the fighter of the year, the fighter of the year, the fight of the year, the upset, KO of the year, trainer, prospect, whatever you got to say, leave it below and I'll have a read. And if you are new to the channel, you could subscribe, that'd be fantastic. And also hit the like button as well. And spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Much love to all of you. Happy 2024, and I'll see you later. Bye for now.